Next question, Debbie Matthews, if you would answer first. Tennessee limits the number of children who can be in any one classroom. Many local governments complain that this regulation of teacher-student ratios creates a financial burden on counties and cities. Would you support legislation changing the rules?
You said the rules limit so many per classroom?
Yes. Let me repeat it for you. Tennessee limits the number of children who can be in any one classroom. Many local governments complain that this regulation of teacher-student ratios creates a financial burden on counties and cities. Will you support legislation changing the rules?
Right now, no, unless I look at it closer. And education, to me, it's a whole new frontier. I was watching CNN the other day, and they were talking about 200 million children in China who are living in a rice paddy with no running water or toilets. But they said those same 200 million children are out testing our best and brightest in the United States in the best high school. Education is now a national security issue, plain and simple. And that has to be our priority. When you have China out competing us, out educating us, it is a problem. And it's going to be a long-term security problem, a long-term economic problem. And frankly, if the law says it's a limit, I wish we would limit it to smaller classrooms. I am in disagreement, especially with Murray County, when we talk about classes going bigger and bigger and bigger. And I look at Hampshire, and I look at Culleoka, and I look at Santa Fe, and I know when children can stay in their communities, they do better. So I believe smaller is better. I believe we've got to get back to education that way, one-on-one with children, and give them the most advanced technology that we can afford. It has got to be a priority. We are falling behind. Senator Ketron's been on the Education Commission or Committee for 8 years now. I'm not seeing things get better. And it has to be a priority, a change in the way we look at it, because education is different today. You know, when my husband is a songwriter, and I'm very proud of him, when he was growing up, he knew of a guy that wasn't a really good book smart person. But he could put a car together and take it apart by memory. And we've got to learn to educate our children differently, which is why I'm thrilled about the trade school going in at Northfield. People learn in different ways, and we've got to make sure that we have an educated work base to make Middle Tennessee an economic engine for the United States.
Thank you.
Thank you.
To answer that question, my answer is no. And I'm going to use the rest of my time to talk about this issue that was in the last question. Ms. Matthews, you say you may not know anything about it, but when people click on and they receive an email, went out in an email blast, and it says on the end of that email from billketron@gmail.com, and then it says, "Can we afford to keep Senator Ketron? Consider contributing to somebody else. Debbie Matthews today by clicking here or mailing a check to Debbie Matthews for State Senate, 104 West 6th Street, Columbia, Tennessee. Teresa Smith, Treasurer." You know, you're saying about my per diem, that's inside the law. What you have done here is outside the law.
Ladies and gentlemen, please. Ladies and gentlemen.
Mr. Ketron, I will promise you that I did not know about the email, and if someone on my staff has done that outside the bounds, I'll be happy to reprimand them tomorrow. But let's get back to the per diem. Let's get back to the per diem.
It's still in
It
your
is-
name.
Excuse
You are
me.
liable.
Excuse me.
Yes.
It is my time, correct?
It is your time. We're going to go over the rules again. We got 2 minutes for each question. If you constituents would please hold your applause, your clapping, and, well, that is, anyway, your noise until the very end of this debate. Then you can make all the noise you want. But please respect the candidates, respect your neighbors, and this debate. For the candidates, we have 2 minutes. The gentleman there will let you know when your 2 minutes is up with a red card. I'm going to get a little stricter and cut you off right barely past the 2 minutes. The rebuttal is 30 seconds. Now, during those 2 minutes, unless Mr. Fletcher or somebody tells me difference according to procedure, if you want to answer question number 1 after we get through with instead of question number 4, that's your prerogative if you don't want to answer that one, okay?
That's correct.
But we're going to stick to 2 minutes, and then rebuttals will be 30 seconds each. Thank you for your patience and your consideration. Now, I believe, Debbie, you have rebuttal on that question.
As I said, I don't know anything about it. I have some zealous campaign workers, as we all do. They put signs in the wrong places. They do things that you cringe sometimes, but their heart was in the right place. Because right now, the citizens of the state of Tennessee have spent $65,000 in the last 4 years on hotel rooms that you have not stayed at, whether it was okay to do or not to do.
Thank you. And, Senator, if you want to rebut, 30 seconds.
Being outside the law, it's serious. And when you signed the petition, got a petition signed, and you forwarded that to the Election Commission, you are responsible for staying inside the law. So just like if one of my campaign persons did it, I'm still responsible.
Thank you,
I agree.
It's outside the law of what you did. You stole my
Thank you,
identity, trying to trick someone else into giving.
Thank you, Senator Kedron.
All right.
Y'all gonna make me get loud. Y'all ain't playing nice. Okay. Next question, Senator Kedron, please answer first. Would you support a law allowing the sale of wine in grocery stores? Why or why not?
I have introduced that bill and carried it for the last 2 years, but never dropped it in the hopper, if you will, to even schedule it or count it for committee. That will be debated when we go back next year in January. There are good things about it because it brings in $17.5 million in recurring revenue. There's downsides to it. Some of our small retail stores feel that they will lose business from that. There's got to be a compromise to be talked about, and I'm willing to do that. I haven't said whether I'm going to vote for it or not. All I said was that I would introduce it, and I will bring the parties together to see what's in the best interest for the state of Tennessee.
Thank you. Deb.
Senator Ketchum has sponsored this bill, I believe, 3 times.
Twice.
Twice. More than just one time of not dropping it into the hopper. He is talking about taking wine out of liquor stores that are covered by the ABC laws and restrictions, something as a city council person here that I have control over and can make decisions on. He's choosing to try to remove that to where children have an easier access to alcohol. I am voting or would vote against wine in grocery stores for several reasons. One, mostly, is right now the liquor stores in Murray County alone employ quite a few people, and their wine sales are anywhere from 35% to 75% of their total. And if they were to lose the wine and it go to grocery stores, they said that they expect to lose half of their work staff. Estimated across Tennessee, that would be a total of about 2,000 people that would lose their jobs. That's the size of GM. On top of that, we would be giving people like Kroger's or Sam's Club or Walmart access to sell that wine where that money goes into coffers in Bentonville, Arkansas or Louisville, Kentucky, instead of staying here in Murray County where we desperately need it. But on top of that, I want the local governments to have say-so over where liquor is sold in the state. Senator Ketchum, in the last term, I believe, passed a law to where local governments do not have control over if a brewery comes into your county. It used to be guided by the county commissioner or the city council, but he sponsored a bill and a law to where anyone could open a brewery wherever or whenever. He and I have very differing ideas on where alcohol should be sold and how it should be sold.
Thank you.
By virtue of the committee that I chair of state and local government in the state senate, all alcohol bills come before my committee. All opportunities to make sure that we enforce bills like that I carried on the Universal ID Act to make sure that every person who purchases alcohol in this state has to show an ID. A picture ID has to be given.
Deborah, 30-second rebuttal.
A lot of money is being put into campaigns, especially from the Grocers Association, to get wine into grocery stores. I respectfully ask any of you all to look at the financial statements of the last 3-4 years to see where the Grocers Administration and Association is sending that money. Thank you.